If this is what life sounds like, then this is what the world is. Got pissed between the whole zeitgeist, found out true religion ain't nothing but some old jeans. Struggling through the whole thing. I might need me a refund, cause I can't fit in these things. I spent too much on the floss. Shine me down for the gloss. The cost is way too expensive. The fact is keeping us lost. I'm looking for the old meaning to get us out of this teaching. They tell me that I'm too wrong, or maybe that I'm too preachy. Hello, listener. Inconsistently Consistent Podcast. I'm Erik, better known as Everything Real is Known. Man, I wear a lot of different hats. I do a lot of different shit. I've said that to you guys before. That's why I needed a fucking team. That's why I need it. But I wear a lot of different hats for this reason, right? Let's go down the list. Fuck that. Before I get to the reason, I'm going to go down the list and tell you all the things that I do, and let's see if you can relate in some weird kind of way. But a lot of y'all can't do what I do. But I am a father. I'm a husband. I am a man. I'm a mentor. I'm a producer. I am an engineer. I'm a videographer. I'm a photographer. I'm a media guru. Fuck, I'm a goddamn editor, a host, a friend, a human. I'm God. I'm every fucking thing. But I notice when I'm juggling all these different things that I do that I'm really not fucking perfect at it. I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? If we want to talk about, like I said in previous episode, I'm not a great dad or things of that nature, or I suck at that or whatnot. But I really feel like you can't really be something and everything all at the same time. And I've tried to do this shit. I've tried to be everything all at once and all at the same time. And this shit just doesn't work. You know what I mean? I tried to be a god and I kind of, I fucked that up. You know what I mean? But in my heart of hearts, I feel like I am a god. You know what I'm saying? I got godly modes and I got godly features where I I can turn it on and turn it off. But I still am a man. I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm still a man. I'm still a father. I'm still a husband that fucks up. I'm still a producer and an engineer and a videographer and all these things that I'm not perfect at. I juggle so many fucking hats that it's not even funny. I'm a negotiator. I'm a team lead. I'm a fucking coach, what have you. Like, I try to juggle all these things and I'm really not perfect at any last one of them. But I feel like you aren't either. And I feel like you do the same thing, listener. I feel like you juggle so many hats throughout a day, whether it be a mother to the kids, you're a baker, you're a chef. That shit got to be whipped up with the gourmet. That shit got to be whipped up with love. You know what I mean? You're a chauffeur. You're a host. I mean, the list can go on, right? And the same thing with the dad, the list can go on. I feel like as people, we juggle so many things and we just really don't know where we're headed at this point in time, what we're learning from all these things. I think we're able to combine a bunch of things together to come out to one big thing, right? But there's this old rule. And the reason why I'm going here is this old rule in Hollywood, right? You'd get an agent, and the agent would whisper in your ear, or a manager, and he whisper in your ear, when you're asked to do something that you can't do. Like if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, can you juggle fucking 3 knives all while eating an apple at the same time?" I'm probably gonna tell you no. But in my heart of hearts, right? Because of this old saying says you're supposed to say that you can do it all. If someone asks you to do it, you better believe you can say, "Yeah, I do that. That's something I do. Let me do that." And then you go figure it out, and then you come back, and then you do this thing. Probably half-assed or not right, but you do this thing nevertheless. This is what we were bred to do, right? And I think we carry this saying into our lives. I think we carry it into our lives while thinking if someone asked us to do it, we just know how to do it. Like with parenting, right? There's no handbook to the shit. There's no fucking guide to the shit, but The minute that baby pops out, you just instantly know. You know, I got to do this. This is what's happening at this point in time. If you're not a shitty parent, if you're a shitty parent and you just don't know what to do with things, obviously I joke around and I say, like, I suck as a dad. But yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm going to suck everything out of me to give it into my kids, if you haven't already witnessed that or noticed that about me, But again, there is some shitty parents out there that don't, as soon as the baby pop out, they're like, I still wasn't ready to be a parent, and here we go. Shit's all fucked up. But that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. The point that I'm trying to make is that when shit is upon you, I think we've carried this saying, or this old Hollywood saying, that we can do anything. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge advocate for YouTube University. That's where I learn a lot of my shit. But I just really feel like with everything that I do, I'm really not that good at it. I just know how to do it. There's other people that specialize in certain things where they might be really great at it. But you got to wonder, how many of those other things are they juggling throughout their lives as well, too? Are they just really good at this and they're juggling and half-assing everything else? Because sometimes I feel like I go through life, right? I feel like in some things that I do them really, really well. And in other things, I feel like I do them really, really shitty, or I don't do them as great. And that's my bad, right? Because I'm not perfect. I as much as I bullshit around and I say I'm a god and all these things, I know at the end of the day, I'm not a god and I can't carry on that task. But I'm human enough to know this, right? There's a God feature inside of me, but there's also the human side in me that also knows these things that I can't do, right? I want to try to do these things, but there's just things that I can't do. But that goes into saying, what if we was able to unlock this part in our brain to where we were able to do all these fucking things, right? And do them perfectly like robots, in a sense. Because here's the scary part. The scary part is that us as humans, we don't really do things perfectly, but a robot would do things perfectly. So would we be replaced after a while, right? Because we're wearing so many hats and we're trying to go through life and we're trying to do so many things and we're trying to do so many things at life, but we're not doing them correctly. So all these robots or these automated things come into play to make things easier for us, but it also takes shit off of the plate. But I think we also got into this mode, like I was talking about with the saying in regards to Hollywood, like, don't say you can't do something, you do everything, right? But I also feel like we got into this mode where, or this saying, I'd say, not a mode, I'd say a saying more than anything. It's like all this technology, all this automated shit that's helping you, self-driving cars, smartphones, it's just making us lazy. And I don't really feel, at first I went along with that saying, but I don't really feel like that anymore. I feel like with these things coming into play, I feel like these are things that definitely can help us or enhance us in a way. It's a weird balancing act that we have to do because we're already throwing on and wearing so many fucking hats that it's not even funny. We're not doing shit perfectly, but we're doing it to the best of our ability. So when these things come along and they help us do things almost in a sense perfectly, it's a little scary, right? Because people are scared of change and they don't want to fuck around. They don't want to see that shit. They like, you know what? I'm gonna stay back where, what the fuck is that? Like, prime example, right? I'm gonna talk about my sister for a minute. I love my sister to death, but I was talking about the car that I have. And by the way, I'm not trying to flex right now. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just telling you what I got. You know what I mean? So I have a 2021 Nissan Altima SV, I think it is. So with this model, okay, this model does a feature called self-driving, right? And so I was getting ready to drive my mother to Vegas for a trip, and she was going to come along. And so the night before, we start talking about this feature because she had never drove in my car when put this self-driving mode on. She never drove with me. She was just like, she always just drove with me, and I just drove regularly. So with that being said, so what happened is we start talking about this conversation that we were having in regards to this feature being turned on. And so she started to like freak out and say, you know what, I'm not driving with you if you driving like that. Now, my sister's older than me, but she didn't want to ride in a car because I was going to put this feature on. But this feature was going to help me make this drive even easier. So it's going to make it easier for me because I wanted to kind of enjoy the scenery and make driving easier for me because I was going to be the one that was going to be driving. So she told me that she would take over the driving if I didn't want to. It's still kind of the same thing, but it's really not, right? Because she could fuck up. And the system could fuck up because it has fucked up a time or two, you know what I mean? Where it would disengage. But this was going to make things easier for me so I can make this drive, right? So what happened is I ended up driving, and I ended up taking this trip by myself, in a sense, with my mom, and then by myself back. But I had this feature that I was able to use to get me back and forth. So it made things a little bit easier for me, right? It took the load off. And sometimes that's what we need. We need to be able to take the load off, right? So even though I can do all these things, and I could do all these things perfectly, well, I shouldn't say perfectly. Now I'm lying. And I don't do these things perfectly, but I have things to help me do this better. You know, I have things to make things easier for me, to automate things. But I'm gonna be honest with you, with all the hats that I wear, I don't do shit perfectly. I try to do things the best of my ability, but it just doesn't necessarily work out. And here we are. When I started to think about what it is that I really, really wanted and really, really needed at this point in time, it was tough, right? What I needed to let go and what I needed to actually let help me, it was tough, right? Because I had all this knowledge in my head and I had all this know-how of how to do things, but I couldn't do them perfectly. Who out there can say they're really perfect at driving? Who out there can say they're really perfect at their job? You're not perfect at it, but there's things that come along that help you out. So I had to pull back and I had to figure out which was going to help me out, which was going to be better for me to kind of get me through that journey, right? So I never really turned down help as much as I do turn down help. But I mean, again, you talk things through, you figure things out. You get a little knowledge under your belt to try to figure out exactly what it is or where you're trying to go with what you're trying to do. What's going to make it the easiest? What's going to make it the best? What's going to help you along the way? These things we have to take in consideration, right? Because we can't do it all. It's just not possible. Sometimes you could be everything and nothing at all. And let me expound on that a little bit, because I've said it a little early in the episode, but let me expound on that a little bit, right? So somebody comes to me to get some idea for my mentorship or what have you, and I feel like I'm well versed in the subject. So I start having a conversation about things that I would do in this certain situation. But that person is not receptive to what I'm doing or what I'm telling them, right? Because it's not how their outlook is. So am I great at it or did I fail? The communication was broken there, right? So I always say, for me, at least what I'm learning as I go along, I'm learning this as I go along. So I won't even say but I'm learning this as I go along, that I can't be everything. Just cannot, right? Because you'll fuck around and end up being nothing, and you got all this knowledge, but you're still not anything because you're doing too much. Sometimes we all do too much. I'll be the first one to tell you, I do too much, but I'm okay with doing too much because I can handle it. Some people can't handle doing too much, right? And again, if you feel like me and you can jump your ass in that ring and you could do a lot, then by all means, do a lot. But you won't do everything perfect. You won't fuck right as a husband. You won't You won't attend to your kids as a father. You won't manage your money the right way. You won't budget. You'll blow too much cash on shit. It's all kind of downfalls and pitfalls as you go along the way. We're trying to do every fucking thing. You can't do every fucking thing. You can do some shit, but you can't do everything because you'll find out that you can't do it perfect. And then we're not bred to be perfect, but we want it near perfect. At least that's how I am. That's how I work. I want shit to be as best as it can be. But as I'm learning, as I'm going through this self-discovery, I'm learning that, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm putting too much time, too much emphasis. So I'm learning to let go. I'm learning to say, you know what? Maybe this is okay the way that it is. I can't do it right now. This is all right. You know what I mean? Letting go a little bit and letting whatever's there to help me or not help me be what it is. I think we get away from that, right? We get away from the fact that we're just trying to be and just enjoy the moment, the ride. So many times we're trying to make shit perfect because, and here's the thing, we're not even trying to make the shit perfect for us. We're trying to make it perfect for someone else. There's nobody out there that can honestly tell me that they're trying to make the shit perfect for them. It just doesn't happen. I know there's a lot of selfish people out there, but we're always doing something for the attention of someone else. It's not for us. It's for someone else. So you're trying to be perfect for someone else. And you're not even considering what it is that you're doing. And so only reason why I say that is because I'm like that, right? I always push myself to do things for other people or try to make it perfect for other people. And when I fall short of that, it hangs. It hangs on my conscience. It hangs on my thoughts. It makes me feel less than a person, right? But I was never meant to be that person in the first place. I was taking on too much and I just didn't realize it, right? So sometimes you can be everything and nothing at all. You have all this knowledge, you have all this wealth, all this know-how, but you're still not anything. You're not famous. You're not anybody. Nobody knows you. We could put these things into action. We could try to do these things, but until it really actually happens, you're not. And let's expound on that. Let's dive deep. Does being famous and a celebrity mean that you're somebody? I don't necessarily think it does because you are who you are. That's why I said in the beginning of the episode, I'm a god. Question me on that shit. But I think we all are. We all are gods in our own certain way. Our life is our life and we're in control of that shit in some type of way, shape, or form. It's all about your thoughts, right? And how you think about things. Because when we talk about like going into God mode and all this shit and I'm a god, like your thoughts become things. So if you think it, you can achieve it. I know I went all the way motherfucking Schoolhouse Rock on y'all, right? I went Schoolhouse Rock on some of y'all, but for real, like that's some real shit. Like if you think it inside of your world, you can achieve it, right? With a little bit of work, with a little bit of grit, you can get there. Will it be perfect? Hell no. Your journey is probably not going to be perfect, but that's okay. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of not being able to get there because or not getting there perfect, I should say, because we're not perfect. We're not bred to be perfect, but it's okay. A lot of times we look at things and we think that it's supposed to be this way and we trip out because it's not that way. Look, only reason why I'm able to tell you that shit, listener, is because that's how I am. I trip out when shit doesn't go my way, or I used to. No, I'm not like a motherfucker. I still do that shit, but look, not as much anymore. I know how to control it a little bit, you know? I know how to go into God mode a little bit with that. But again, you know, far as like trying to get there and enjoying the journey, like you gotta enjoy the journey. That you're not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna do things the right way. That's just life. That's just is what it is. But long as you're giving an honest effort, long as you got something that's going to help you along the way, take some of them motherfucking hats off. Take some of them hats off. Women, take your wigs off. Take some of that shit off so you can motherfucking actually focus on what it is that you're actually good at. What you can be perfect at. You're not going to be perfect at every fucking thing, and that's okay. Women, you need to take some of those wigs off. Take some of that weave out. You know, comb your scalp, tease that motherfucking shit. You know what I mean? Take some of them hats off, my nigga. Like, you got too many fitteds on. You got too many beanies on. You know what I mean? Take some of the hats off and pass those hats around to other people to let them do other things. Thanks for listening. All right, listener, listen. I'm going to try to nail this tail end of this outro. I'm going to try to nail this shit perfect this week, and I'm going to try to see how good I am with it. You know what I mean? All right, listener. So, thank you so much for listening. First of all, I can't even get it out and I already fucked it up or whatever. So I'm going to have to pull up my intro so I can get this shit right, because I do not have it right. All right, let's see. All right, listener, I'm going to try to nail this outro. All right, this podcast was recorded and produced by me. I'm the only one behind the scenes making it happen, so listening and spreading the word will be greatly appreciated. Greatly? Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'm sure your ears will thank your brain later. Inconsistently consistent. I'm out. You would think after 4 seasons that I would have this outro down. But let me tell you what I did. Every time I got ready to do the outro, I had it written. I had it written down. Look. I had the shit written. I got it written down so I'll be able to say the shit back. My intro, I just got my intro. So if somebody came up to me and asked me to nail my outro, I probably would fuck it all the way up, right? I could do the intro. Hello, listener, Inconsistently Consistent Podcast. I'm Eric, better known as Everything Real is Known. I know how to do that. But when it comes to my outro, for some reason, I just can't get it right. But thank you so much for listening. I'm sure your brain, damn, I keep fucking that up. See, look. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sure your ears will thank your brain later. Inconsistently consistent. I'm out. This episode of Inconsistently Consistent was produced and recorded by me, Eric G. Polk, aka Everything Real is Known. This is a Weird Recordings production. Yep, and I read that off the script too. So now, sue me.